I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce a fireman, a policeman, and a former SEAL team member, Terrence McGowan.
I feel more comfortable speaking out loud as opposed to use the microphone also. You can all hear me?
Yes, sir.
First off, what Mr. Rulo said. I'm good with that.
All the gentlemen back up.
I feel like I've come back. You know, when I first started this whole thing, I came and this was my first chance in front of you guys. And I feel like...
Yeah, they're getting loud at the bar.
This is my first opportunity back since I spoke to you about a month ago, and I feel like I'm reporting back home.
Welcome home.
So you can imagine all the shenanigans that I've gone through over the last month, and I've learned a thing or two. First off, my friends and I, we always would joke whenever you see a politician walk in the room, he always gives that, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, that invisible person in the corner of the room. Well, we had my rally last week, and I walked in, and the first thing I did, "Hey, how you doing?" And then I'm riding in the car with my son, and we were listening to 115, and he asked the question. It was a political topic, and I started explaining it to him. And that quickly turned into a political rant. And then when I was done, he looked at me and he said, "You know, Dad, if you took all the swear words out, that'd be a pretty good speech." So, as you might imagine, I spent a lot of time thinking about how I could convey to you how I would perform as your congressman. What are my leadership abilities? And as I also mentioned before, I've never been in politics, so this is all new to me. But a friend of mine called me from Afghanistan. He had just gotten back from Afghanistan, and he worked on the same project that I ran when it was still in Iraq. And he threw me a compliment. He was complaining a little bit about his new boss, and he said, "You know, when you were in charge, we were all pulling in the same direction, and everybody was mission focused." And it reminded me, when I took over, I brought everybody into our briefing room, and I wrote up on the whiteboard, 1, safety, 2, mission, 3, mission, 4, mission, 5, mission. And I explained to those guys, safety is a no-brainer. That was my job to make sure everybody came home okay. And thankfully they all did. But the other thing was, if we had a mishap, that would affect our mission readiness. But I knew if we had all those guys pulling in the same direction, that the mission would get done. Everybody would be working as a team. But here's the leadership part. I knew if I focused all my decisions and I based them all on 1 or 2 of these key issues, everything would work out in the end. And as it turns out, everything did work out, and we were able to save a lot of American lives. So, Congress. We as Americans have a tendency to overcomplicate everything. Everything. Law, government, everything. The Founding Fathers, they were a bright group of guys. And they gave us a manual for how to run a democracy. It's called the Constitution. Every decision you can see, you watch the news, everything that comes up on TV, you can look at it, check the manual, and then there's your decision. It's not that complicated, usually. I'm not saying there aren't issues that aren't incredibly complicated, but that's the way my decision making would work. Liberty, for example. A lot of people, it's an overused term, and I think a lot of people have forgotten what it means. By definition, liberty is freedom from captivity or slavery. It's a political, social, or economic right that belongs to the people of a state or to all people. As Americans, you are constitutionally guaranteed your right of liberty. The Founding Fathers, they did a great job summing up the Constitution in the preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. Think about that for a minute. One of the primary reasons for the existence of the United States federal government is to secure your individual liberty. How many people have forgotten that in Washington?
About everyone.
You've all heard me say that apathy is the curse of free men. That's why I'm standing here talking to you. No one should ever feel apathetic in a free society. We all must be vigilant to secure those blessings for our children and their children. Now the Constitution, the First and Second Amendment, there's a reason they made them number 1 and number 2. The freedom of speech is all about ideas. Ideas are the most powerful thing that anyone has ever come up with. They're far more powerful than any weapon we've ever seen. Ideas are what made men give up their farms and their businesses to fight in the Revolutionary War. Ideas are what brought down the Iron Curtain. Ideas are what convinced me I could take on a 30-year incumbent and win. Now the Second Amendment is the teeth of the Constitution. The Second Amendment is what guarantees all the rights we talk about. There's a reason why in the Revolutionary War, the first shots of the Revolutionary War were fired when the British tried to secure the powder stores in Concord. There's a powerful message there. So goes the Second Amendment, so goes the Republic. I believe that. When you send me to Washington to be your representative, I promise you, and I don't say this lightly, I promise you, I will help secure our right to liberty, and I will support and defend the U.S. Constitution to the best of my ability. What you are all doing here is a wonderful, wonderful thing. When I was going out and getting signatures, I'd meet people that didn't know whether they were Democrat or Republican, didn't know if they were even registered. And I got to tell you, for a guy like me who's spent so much time serving his country, that hurt. It hurt a lot. But when I get in a group like this and I see all these concerned citizens, you're taking your time out, you're showing up here every month, you're listening to guys like me, you're going out there, you're working the phones, you're sending those emails, it makes me feel better. This country's going to turn around and it's going to go in the right direction again.